Hey everyone, my name is Jake Sheldon. I am here with Jonas Olson, CEO of Pest Badger, and we're here to talk to you today about objection handling for door-to-door. So appreciate you being on here. Thanks for showing up and going over this really, really important topic. So let's just jump right into it with the door-to-door side of things. We talked some previously about the pitch and all that, but the meat and potatoes is you're gonna get objections.
Absolutely.
And how do you handle those objections? And what are those objections? So what are those objections look like? What are like the top ones that people are gonna get when they're going up to the door? What are people gonna say to them?
Yeah, awesome. So what I always tell my guys, especially as a rookie, that everything that the customer says is 100% bullshit.
Yeah.
That sounds like the truth.
Yep.
Again, go back to the RDRs. They just don't want you in the door. They don't want to talk to you. They just want to get rid of you. So the fast way to get rid of you is to think of some smoke screen, not an objection. Because objection is real. Smoke screen is just something that they think that they're going to say that to get rid of you. And there's the same smoke screens over and over and over and then over again. You're not going to hear anything. One new one that I heard when I was knocking in Florida was she prayed the bugs away. That one caught me off guard. But other than that,
what was it?
She was going to pray the bugs away.
Oh, pray the bugs away.
So that was a new one that I had never heard. That was a few years ago, though. But at this point, they're all the same. And so when I teach guys, like, we'll go over this training for a couple weeks, and literally within the first 10, 20, 30 doors, they're calling me like, you weren't kidding. Yep. It's the same one over and over and over again. So it's nothing that you haven't heard before, right? Mm-hmm. So we're just going to pick the top few that we hear on the doors and how to easily overcome them. And again, there's nothing new. But like you said, it's like meat potatoes where you roll up seas of a sales guy, stay in the pocket a little bit longer, learn how to overcome, a smoke screen 2 or 3 or 4. Because you notice like people will smoke screen hop. They'll say one smoke screen, then they'll make another one, and then another one. You can easily realize that these are smoke screens and not objections.
Yep.
It's not a real thing. So first thing is don't repeat what they said. So if they said, it's I got to talk to my spouse. Oh, you got to talk to your spouse. Don't make it a real thing. At this point, it's just a smoke screen. So first one is just not interested. Of course they're not interested because they don't even know why you're there yet. Mm. So again, if you were to just to go, knock on a door and expect someone to open up the door and say, sign me up today, it's not going to happen. Yeah. So we expect them to say no. Like we want to get their first no out of the way as fast as possible. Yeah. Right? And then we got to take away all the reasons not to say no. So let's just go with not interested. Of course, they can't be interested because they don't even know what you're doing yet. So like the best overcome for this is just like totally understand you weren't expecting the bug guy to stop by today. Let me show you what I was doing to Miss Jones next door. If it works for you, cool. If not, that's cool too. And they're like, oh, well, there's no pressure here. It took away their reason to say no. It drops all their pressure. There's no reason to listen to you for a little bit further. And then you explain how you were able to take care of Miss Jones next door. That's the easiest one.
Yep. And that's usually the first one people will say.
Yeah, and like you said, we don't expect them to be interested because they don't even know what the heck we're doing.
Right.
So some guys will just be like, yeah, of course, you're not interested because you don't even know what we're doing yet, Right. And so I just like, that's how I like to phrase it. It's just simply as what I said. Yep. Totally understand. I didn't expect you to be interested today. You didn't expect the bug guy to stop by. But let me show you what to do for Miss Jones. Works for you, cool. If not, that's cool too. No pressure, right? That's it. Like 9.5 times out of 10, that works. Yep. You get to the next part of your pitch. Next, we can go over a spouse objection.
Yep.
Again, super easy. We call these one-leggers. It does happen where you'll sell, the husband or wife, and then the husband or wife will come home and then they're mad and then they cancel. But most often they don't. Right. But it does happen. So I'm just going to throw that out there. But spouses are pretty easy. Like you can just literally ask them, hey, are they here? And they'll be like, you see their face, like you see like the shock in their face that they weren't expecting it. And they're like, well, yeah, no. Actually, yeah. And then they'll like kind of smile and then like, just go grab them quick for me. And then, or her, whatever. Yeah. And they'll come out. If it's, again, if you're talking to a husband, like, do you think his wife likes bugs? 9 times out of 10, They're not gonna I mean, 9 times out of 10, except for the lady that wanted to pray the bugs away, that's the 10th. But again, that lady's not gonna want bugs. It's not up to her. Right. She probably does make the decisions. Like in our world, most females call us. So, and the same thing on the doors, they're gonna make the decision on the doors. The more, affluent neighborhoods that you're in, like the woman's going to make the decision. And if you're in a very affluent area, anyone can make the decision, husband or wife. It's a couple $100 service. It's not like you're spending, $200,000 on a car. It's not that. It's pest control. It's easy. Yep. So one thing you do is go ask for the spouse. If he's there, is he at work? Cool. Let's give him a call. And it literally happens in the door. And she wants to do it. She's like, okay, let's call a husband real quick and we'll pitch him over the door. He'd be like, yeah, I don't care, whatever. Next thing you could do is hey, man, hey, yes, ma'am, sir, whatever. I'm not a divorce attorney out here. I don't want you sleeping on the couch over pest control.
Yeah. Bring humor into it. Yeah.
Bring a little humor into it and get them to let their walls down too. Yep. I don't want you sleeping over, on the couch over pest control. What do you think you'd say no to? And let them tell you why. Is it the price? Is it the product? Is it me? And you kind of laugh.
That's the real objection.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's the real objection. You're trying to get the real objection out, right? Mm-hmm. And so is the price, product, is it me? What do you think you say no to? And then they kind of laugh. Is it me?
Yeah. Do I stink? Or
yeah. And then they just kind of laugh no, but it could be this. And then they're like, okay, this is the real thing that she's worried about. And then you can go solve for that price, or maybe it's budget thing, who knows, right? Yep. But that's just an easy way to overcome just by saying those few things. Again, you're gonna run into this 5 out of 10 doors, right?
Yeah, easily. Yep.
Yeah. So that's how I do that one. The third one, off the top of my head, was, do you have a business card or a brochure? This is why I don't let my guys walk around with door hangers, because it's so easy for the customer's like, oh, no, I'm not interested, but I'll take one of those, right? And then they're like, oh, crap, I have nothing to really fall back on. Mm-hmm. But if you're going to do door hangers, keep them in your backpack. Just some food for that. Exactly. Yep. Don't have them out in front of you. Yep. So you don't have a business card, it's just a stall. It's called a stall objection. How do you overcome a stall objection? It's super easy. A couple things you say, hey, we used to stay back in COVID. Since COVID, it actually worked really well. We haven't been able to give out business cards. Yeah. Or you'd be I'm I can give you way more information than a business card, and I'm like a walking billboard out here. What questions do you have? Yep. But what I like to use the most is have I given you enough information to make a decision today? Obviously there's a reason that they want more information, right? Yep. They want a car for some reason.
So you're just trying to get out more information. You're trying to
mining for gold. Yep. Yeah, I'm mining for gold, trying to figure out what, what the real reason is. So business card is just a stall objection, right? Yep. So I got to keep that the momentum wheel moving. Yep. Totally, I can give you a business card, but have it given you enough information to make a decision today? They're going to be like, well, yes, but, right? Right. Or no, but, and then question. Mm-hmm. No, but what did you say the price was? Cool, now I got a buy-in question, right? Explain how many times we come out, what the frequency is, what the pay structure is, whatever that may be. If there's any buying question, okay, now I can move these guys to close, start signing the agreement. Or they could be no, but then have a concern. Yeah. Is it safe? Is it this? Is it that? Will it take care of this bug, right? Yep. Will it take care of that bug? It doesn't matter. Again, more buying questions. So no matter what they say there, they can say, no, but I still have to talk to my husband. Or no, but I still have to talk to my husband. After 3 times of them saying they have to talk to their husband, it's probably a legit objection. Yep. Again, that's just how I'd solve the will you give me a business card. Yep. Pretty simple. These are not, nothing new, but the people who aren't in sales or haven't done door-to-door, this is some easy ways to break into the market. Yep.
So they might think that person's not interested, right, if they're getting these.
Yeah,
and
you're already
prepared for them.
Yeah, for sure. So again, if you expect them to say they're interested, 9 times out of 10 it's not gonna happen. Does it happen? Absolutely.
Lay downs.
You're gonna come to the door. Yeah, exactly. Call it lay me downs. You're gonna come to the door. They'll be like, oh man, my husband and I were just talking about this last night. We haven't called anyone. We didn't really know who to call, and you happen to be here. It happens every single day. Yep. Like I said, you knock enough doors throughout the day, you're going to find that 1 or 2 customers every single day that needed you to help them out. Yep. So just knock enough doors. Yep. Next one I can think of off the top of my head is I need to think about it. It's kind of the stall objection. It's kind of the same thing. Mm-hmm. Totally. Yeah, it's not like we're buying, a car out here. It's just pest control. It's super easy. Having to give you enough information to make a decision today.
Yep.
It's a stall objection. They're stalling it out. Yep. So you got to create the momentum wheel going again.
It's programmed to do that.
Exactly. So it's going back to do you have a card? It's just a stall objection.
Yep.
And it's not really an objection at this point. It's just still a smoke screen. Mm-hmm. And they're like, I need to think about it. Sure, I totally understand. I like to think about a lot of my decisions too, but this is just pest control. It's pretty cheap. It's not like we're buying a car out here, but I haven't given you enough information to make a decision today. And they're like, yes, and they'll start asking questions, but no, I'm just not interested. And get mine for gold, figure out what's really going on in their head. Hey guys, real quick, if you guys are really looking to grow your pest control company, check out what we do at pestcontrolmillionaires.com.
One thing that you mentioned is you're talking about positivity right away. So when they're coming with an objection, like you said, yeah, sure.
Totally understand.
It's a positive response instead of going.
You agree with them, but you just don't repeat what they said. Yeah, I totally agree. I totally understand where you're coming from.
Yep.
Totally get it.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Just a positive feedback loop.
Absolutely.
Because we've both seen people when they're like, oh yeah, I need to talk to my spouse, and they go, oh yeah, like that's not what you want to do, right? You want to keep that positive.
Yeah, and then just make sure you're smiling, making good eye contact, not staring them down either, staring through their eyes, like have some planned lookaways. Yep. When you're looking at your neighbors, show them like palm up, don't ever point, palm up, where you're coming from. They, their eyes will naturally follow, and just begin a conversation. The next one that you guys are running into a lot is like do-it-yourselfers, especially like in a Midwest market, where
a lot of DIYers.
Yeah, a lot of DIYers. Maybe you're in lower income, like want to do themselves, or trying to save money, or they just don't trust people. And this is what you have to figure out, right? So if someone says, yeah, I just do it myself, do they really like doing it? No, they don't, right? But somewhere along the lines, they decided that they had to do it themselves. Yep. So that's but there is actually some people who love doing it themselves. Yeah. So you're going to go find the people and they're like, oh yeah, I do it myself, but cool. Like, got to do something out here, right? And kind of laugh. And like, I have one question for you. Where do you get your products from? Like, is it Lowe's and Home Depot, big box store? Or are you getting it from, the Home Garden store down the street, right? Or, like Farm and Fleet or whatever that may be.
And they usually tell you the truth.
And they always tell you the truth.
Yep.
These guys aren't out there to lie, right? Yep. And they'll tell you. Or they'll buy it off Amazon. They'll know the product. Yep. Okay, so those are two different profiles of people.
Yeah.
The people who are buying it from like the home garden place, like your local supplier, they know the product, and same thing with Amazon. They're going to tell you that, hey, I bought Taurus or Demand or whatever. Yeah. The odds of you selling that guy is slim to none. It's like none. Yeah. Could you? Yes, but would you rather spend your time with more qualified people? So if that's the case, just, say, hey, if I could do it for XYZ price, would you be interested at all? They'd be like, no, we're good.
Take some time away.
Yeah, and they love it, honestly. Yeah. And then the other guy, though, is like, hey, he gets it from the big box store. He's spraying the majority of it water. He's chasing these things around because there's zero shelf life. There's very, very, very little residual. He's literally just contact spray and everything. Right. He's got to do this every weekend. It's costing him, I don't know what it is anymore, like $50 a jug or something like that. He's got to go buy a jug every weekend. Keep getting them. Yeah, and it happens all the time. Yeah. We'll go knock on the door. You see her in the front yard, on the side of the garage. They're using it, chasing the stuff around. This is the person you want to spend a little more time with. Yep. And this is the way you figure out, why this customer chose to do it themselves. Like, is it a price thing? Have they been burned in the past, or do they just not trust you or your company, right? Yep. So, like, yeah, man, totally understand it. In my situations, I've been doing this for a long time. One or two things have happened. One, just trying to save a bunch of money, or two, you've been burned in the past, but which one is it for you? Like, just trying to save money. Then you just say like a time, you take his time, and his product, how much time he's spending. Let's say he's not retired. Let's say he's a doctor. This is a true story. Doctors make like $250,000 a year. I think it was like $250,000 for the year. He's going to spend $100 at Home Depot where he can chase his money around. It's like, you're worth $250,000. If you break this down to hours, he's making a couple $100 an hour. So like, you're going out here spraying every weekend, it's costing you an hour. You're a pretty smart dude. You're making $200, $300, $400 an hour. It's costing you $400 every time you go spray this thing. And they're like, oh, I never really looked at it that way, right? Yep. And then from there, it's just like, you just make it the offer so good that they can't say no. Like, you know, you're spending all this time over the weekend, you're going to buy this product, your majority of it's water, just to be honest, it's fair. It does work. I'm not saying that it doesn't, but you just have to do a lot of it.
Right.
So now,
And again.
So like, you figure out why this person's doing it. Okay, so let's just say that he's been burned in the past. Or maybe that he just wants to, he wants to communicate with someone. He's had a company in the past that just went to a call center, couldn't get any information. Well, how do you solve those few things, right? The one thing you solve is like, they just don't trust you. They heard something about your company or something, your brand. You solve that with 5-star reviews. You pull out your phone, like, hey, we have a 500 or 1,000 5-star reviews.
Show them.
And you show them. Pick it up your phone, or you know, if you're using software that shows you all the pins of all the customers in the area that give you 5 stars, pull that up and show them, like, yeah, all these customers, kind of the same thing. Do you know this person? They're like, oh yeah, yeah. And they're like, oh yeah, I know that person. And then it's the other guys like, oh man, I've dealt with, you know, companies like this in the past. They have big call centers. You can never get a hold of anyone. Well, how do you solve that one? It's pretty simple. Like, you know, I'll go the extra step for you. I'll give you my personal cell phone number. Here it is, and shoot him a text message. You know, get his number. Shoot him a text message. If you ever need anything, you can just contact me directly, and I'll make sure you get taken care of. It's that simple. They don't really want to do it themselves. Again, this side of the profile, and that's just the best way to overcome the DIYers. A lot to unpack there, but again, spend more time with qualified candidates, which is the DIYer that is going to Lowe's, Home Depot, big box stores, buy product.
Yep. No, and that's huge. Like, one thing I want to add to that with objection handling is you guys are going to get objections. It's just a thing that you need to expect going up to the door. It's always going to happen. You're never going to escape it. So just memorize these things going up, like the objections that he just went over. Those are the most common ones. Memorize what you're going to say, because you're going to get them again and again and again. And the more repetitions you do, the easier it is going to overcome these things. And that's how you essentially can get so many sales from this kind of marketing technique. The door-to-door technique is because you are overcoming those smoke screens, building the trust, and ultimately earning their business.
Yeah,
so
for sure. And yeah, I don't need to beat it up, but it's just practice, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like they say, anything in life, it takes, you know, you do something 10,000 times before you even get good at it. Yep. And I think it's 10,000 hours to be a master at that. So it takes time, but just practice. Like, it's as dumb as it may sound, hit the record button, and just video yourself in the mirror. This is a true story too. Like, I used to wake up 3-4 a.m. and like, I couldn't shut it off. Like, this is early on when I started pitching doors and learning. Yeah. Like, I was doing the pitch in my head over and over and over and over again. Cause that's where you're like, at first, that's the hardest part, is memorize what you're going to say. Mm-hmm. Then it gets to the point where you're so confident that you know everything you're going to say. You already know what the customers are going to say, and you can take them down the path that you want them to go down. Mm-hmm. You take them down the easiest path possible to the sale. All of a sudden they ask a buying question, you know, the light bulb goes off in your head. Sweet. Let's, you know, move them to the agreement and let's get them signed up. Yep. Right. It's really that simple. Yep. And then I guess the last one that we can talk about is switchover. Yep. You know, like, and this kind of circles back to the very beginning of the last slide that went over about the regular pitch. Yep. So depending on what you're marketing, you know, like whether you're a traditional or non-traditional market, a traditional market to be like, you know, Florida, California, Texas, versus a non-traditional market, it's going to be more like maybe like Chicago or Green Bay or, you know, something more Midwest, where there's not a gazillion pest control. There's a bazillion pest control companies, but let's say 3 out of 10 people have pest control in the Midwest, and let's just say 7 out of 10, again, fictitious numbers, 7 out of 10 people have pest control in Texas or Florida, right? Right. Just more bugs, more bug pressure, I should say. So you kind of have to tailor your pitch to which market you're in. Yep. So if you're in more like a traditional market where it's going to be more of a switchover market, again, it's a good thing because more people have pest control.
They know the service already.
They know the service. You don't have to sell a service. You have to just sell them how you're different from another company. You don't have to sell them on the service. You got to sell them on you, right? Yep. And so the downfall is like there is so many people that have companies that are doing a really good job that they don't want to switch. Yep. So you got to qualify fast. Obviously, like how do you qualify fast? One, do they have an issue? Do they know how they have an issue? And do they have a company?
Yep.
Well, cool. Can you see an issue too? Like, is there an issue that you've noticed? Like, those are all qualifiers right there.
Point out.
So when you're talking to them, like, we went through the first 4 steps of the pitch and the 5th steps of the close, and it's like, instead of this is where you transition. Like, well, instead of closing, like, who do you have coming out for you, right? Because that's just like, or you say like, like if you notice also like when you go through neighborhoods, you'll have the same companies in there. Well, let's just go with Orkin, Trurine, and all the neighbors all went with them too. So you'd be like, yeah, who did you go with? I just got done talking with Sally and Joe down the street. They went with Orkin. This person went with Aptive, but who did you guys choose? So you guys are the experts now, right? Yep. You have to do a lot of homework here too.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of homework. So I said it earlier on. Yeah, you have to know your competition just as well as you know yourself. Yep. You got to know from their brand to their technicians' names if you can, to like their office, and like you get really, really good at this. And I will start out with this too. Never ever talk bad about another customer, like another company, ever. One, we're all in this together. Yep. There's plenty of work to go around, right? Never talk bad, because what that does is like, if you said that, hey, Mr. Customer, you made a bad decision, and now they don't trust themselves, they're not gonna believe in themselves, make another decision to go with you, right? And just because they have a service, and I've had them, like we've switched over customers that Orkin's literally been the day before or 8 hours ago. And I'm not just saying Orkin, because there's a lot of good Orkin technicians out there. I'm not calling anyone out, but I'm just saying as an example, another company that was serviced that morning or the day before, switch over that fast, right? Because they weren't happy at some point. And so I'm going to go into the next part of the pitch, which is like be technically the next step, is the discovery phase and who they have coming out for them. So there's multiple ways you can do it. Like, oh, awesome, you got to do something out here, but who'd you have coming out for you, like I said? Oh, cool, and most everyone went with Massey or Orkin, but who did you guys go with, right? They're definitely going to tell you. That would be step number 5.
Or, by the way, if they don't know, that's a really good tell sign that they're not, like, super loyal to them, or that company's not doing a good job keeping them engaged with their brand.
And it seems like a lot of them, they might know, most of the times they know, most of the time, they know the company's name, but they don't know how much they're getting billed. They have no idea, right? So this is where you have to be the expert, like I said, and know exactly what that service looks like, what their service looks like, how much they're charging, what they do on that service. Like, you have to know them very, very well. Yep. The next part of the pitch is 8 Mile. So I don't know if you've ever watched the movie. Yep. I'm from Michigan, technically. And so people are like, oh, I thought you lived in Wisconsin. Like, you even thought that. Yeah. They're like, no, I'm like 2 hours north. But close. I'm right on the border. But it's like, so I live up here, and so, that would be 8 Mile. And what does Rabbit do at the very last mic session? They're doing he does like the mic drop. And he takes away, I can't remember, Papa Doc, that's who it was. He's like, I live in a trailer, my mom's white trash, like saying all these things, like, and all of a sudden Papa Doc had nothing to say, and then like Eminem mic drops at the end.
Because they said everything already.
It's the same thing on this side of the world. So it's like, hey, Mr. Customer, most of what you're doing out here is the same thing I'm doing. They're really cool companies. They're doing the mulch beds. They'll come aside when you need to. Things like that, right? You tell them everything that company is doing for you. But the reason people are switching over to me is there's 2 things, right? So that's competitive advantage, right? So that'd be the 8 Mile. But then you say, like, have you seen anything have you seen them do anything outside of that? Have you seen them do anything outside of that? Like on a treatment, they're like, oh no. So like, yeah. So like I said, they will spray the foundation, right? They will spray the mulch beds. They're really cool. And then, but outside of that, is there anything that they do for you on a consistent basis? And they're like, no, that's about it. Okay, cool. So now we know their prices, right? We know what the service offering is. Pretty much exactly what they're doing, I'm doing. But this is why most people are switching to us. So they've already told me what their company does, and outside of that, they do anything else. So now here's like where our USP comes in, how we're different. And there's multiple things you guys could hear, whether it's the type of service, the frequency of service, any add-on additional services that you can do to throw in for the customer, right? So that could be, let's do a simple one. Let's just say, keep it very basic. Let's just say that their company just does, like I've seen it also, like a home wash. Like I've literally sprayed the whole house, right? Seen that. But they don't do anything outside of that. They're there for 5 minutes, they spray the foundation, and they leave. Seen that many times. It's like, okay, so what can we do that differentiates us? Let's just say, again, easy example. Let's just say we have a duster brush that we can go around and dust around, the windows, doors, eaves, whatever, right? Make sure we're knocking out all the cobwebs. Like they see that as an upgrade.
Yep.
We'll get to that point, but it's like everything that they can do. Like, oh, they come out this often, we come out this often, right?
Yep.
Let's just say it's on the FERT side of the world. Oh, they're doing granular. Oh, cool, we do liquid because of this, right? Or they do liquid and we do granular because of this. It doesn't matter. I'm just giving you examples.
Kind of go back to offer too, like how you said before in previous videos, is that USP, it could be, oh, hey, I actually would offer you a free mosquito control treatment.
Right.
Yep. Even going back to the offering side of things.
Yeah, so then it just goes into the differentiation step. Like I already got there. Like what makes us different?
Yep.
And so let's just say, like you already told us, Mr. Customer, that they don't do this. So they can't say, oh, no, they do that. I think they do that. No, because you just told me that they don't do anything outside of that, right? So what we'll say is like, okay, well, we do this thing, right? Like we're going to go with the duster at this point. So we wipe everything down. Then you just go through the service, exactly what it looks like, why everyone's why the current customers down the road switched over to you too. The main reason is because you guys use this 30-foot web pull, wipe down all doors, eaves, windows, things like that. And then I ask them every single time. In my first switchover pitch, like I nailed it. And I still remember the house. I still remember the issue and I messed up. And where I messed up, like their son was allergic to wasps. They had Orkin. It's a monster house. And there's a huge wasp nest. And like I even got her off the porch, everything. And the one key question that I missed was, you see this as an upgrade, right? And she would have just said, yeah. And like, cool. And I could just push her to the close. But what I didn't do is then they asked for that question, like, you see that as upgraded, right? And she should have been like, yeah. And then I had to ask, well, why? Then I'd make her sell me. Well, because you're doing this, the thing that my current customers would do. So you see why we charge a little bit more for that, right? And she'd have been like, yeah, so you already told me that I already know that they're paying $200. I got to charge her $250 for these upgrades. So now I got her at a better price than what she's already paying. And again, I don't like to discount services. I don't want to undercut anyone's prices. I want them to actually pay more to switch into us to see a better valued service. And so they're emotionally invested into our company early on. So those two questions are super important, right?
So you're not undercutting anyone's service. Nope. You're selling off value, right? When you're doing the switch over.
Yeah, and there's a few instances too where let's just say they were just out there the day before, right? Let's just use this as an example. They're just out the day before, they did the foundation, but let's just say they didn't do they didn't wipe down the house. Okay, well I know that I have to make $150 per hour. In this example, so instead of charging them $250, I'm going to charge them $150 just to wipe down the house. And then we'll come back in 90 days to do their first quarterly visit. So that's what a switchover pitch would look like. I'm not discounting the services. I'm not talking bad. I'm just showing them that, hey, we're basically the same, but this is how we're different, and this is how I'm going to upgrade you to our plan.
Love that. Now, we just went over the objection handling side of things. Out of all of those objections that we just covered, which one do you think you probably get the absolute most of?
I mean, right out of the gate, it'd be not interested.
Not interested, yep.
I mean, that's like 90% of the doors. And then it'd be spouse. Yeah, and then it's the spouse, and if not all of them. Yeah. And then it's probably DIY. But again, think about it's kind of in there too. But these are the top 5. And the other one is obviously would be the switchover pitch. But again, if you're just using the first basic pitch that I taught you guys, it's going to get you 1 to 2 sales every single day. Yep. Right?
That adds up.
And then the DIY one is going to get you another additional 2 to 3 sales a day. And then the switchover pitch is, when you get good at it, it's going to get you an additional 3 to 5. So if you want to hit those double-digit numbers, you got to get good at all 3 of these and really master each one of those. And if you expect to go out there in day 1 and think you're gonna go put on this master class, it's just not gonna happen. Although I have seen it happen. Like I was telling you, I had rookies throw down some big numbers that haven't stopped since they started. So, but again, they had lots of practice too. Yep. So yeah, just put in the work, learn, go like practice these smoke screens, practice with your friends, practice with your technicians, practice with the girls in the office, the admins, like really get good at this. We would even play games like where we'd walk by each other and I'd be like, not interested. And then they'd have to hurry up and overcome that smoke screen. And so it was competitive for a long time. Yeah. That's kind of gone away a little bit, although we still pitch practice every single day in the office with the sales team and in the sales team on the door-to-door team every single morning. It's over and over and over. Because even if you take off a day or two and you go start, let's say you took Saturday, Sunday off and you go back to work Monday, like you're just rusty. So even if you take a day off, you're just gonna be rusty. Make sure you're practicing every single day to master your craft.
Yep. One last thing I want to add to that is objection handling isn't just for the doors. Like this is for everything when it comes to business, especially just being on the phone. If you have this in your arsenal, you know how to have the competitive advantage over everyone else in town when you know how to properly sell.
For sure.
That's right. So
yeah, because like I said, if you're getting a lot of referrals, a lot of leads coming through, and you're closing at a high percentage, and let's just say at 50%, but then let's say you're just not very good at sales and you don't need more sales, you need more close. Like there'd be a lot to unpack there too, but let's just say you have a bunch of sales leads coming in, not closing a lot. So let's just move the needle by getting better sales. Let's just say you're getting 5 sales out of those 10. Now you get to 6 or 7 out of those 10. You're just closing at 7%. Just a little bit of that skill can get you a long way.
Yeah, that's huge.
And then there's like the whole inside script and how I'd answer phones. Totally different than the script out on the doors, but for now, this is just door to door.
Yeah, no, that's great stuff. Well, just to impact that winner of all objection handling, the main ones that you guys are going to run into, again, these is something that you guys need to practice and don't give up right away, because this is just like Jonas was mentioning, this isn't something you're going to learn like instantaneously. It's going to take a lot of practice, but if you guys master these, you can truly put on a lot of sales with the door-to-door piece when you're handling these objections. So
yeah, and I can just tell that I've done this so many times too, but I haven't been out there, and like I've been knocked next your door in like probably like a year, maybe 2 at this point. Yeah. So I had to like refresh my memory going through all this as I'm talking, and I'm thinking about it, like stuttering a little bit. Yeah. Like I know it all, I know all the back of my hand, but I'm just rusty just from not doing it. So it's something that if I need to get back into it, I need to practice too. I'm no different than anyone else.
Yep.
But like my guys who do this every single day, they would out-sub me in a heartbeat. They're so good at it.
Yep.
But it's just because this is what they do every single day, all day long.
Yep. Love that. Well, guys, go out there, practice this, watch this video as many times as you need, and really digest what Jonas was saying. This is absolute money. And go out there and make some sales.
See ya.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. I know that we really appreciate you guys taking the time with us here. If you guys have any questions, comments, make sure to throw them in the comment section below. And if you found this valuable, make sure to like and subscribe, and to share with your friends who maybe own a service business themselves. Again, our goal here is to provide as much value to you guys as possible. Also, if you guys are really looking to grow your business, make sure to check out our website at pestcontrolmillionaires.com. We'll have the link below in the bio, and we'll also have a free school group for you guys to check out. So thanks for watching.